Hi there. So this will be a short video, I'll try to keep it short, about how to take a very simple melody on the guitar, fingerstyle guitar, and harmonize it, turn it into what's called a chord solo. A chord solo is when you hear the tune and the harmonies as well, just like playing the piano. Usually on the piano you'll have the right hand playing most of the melody and the left hand playing the accompaniment. Sometimes that switches around, but most of the time you'll hear the melody in the right hand. On the guitar, that's sometimes harder for beginners to play both melody and chords, to play a chord solo. So people would play just a tune. So something like Mary Had a Little Lamb. And then we have another guitarist doing playing the chords, but you could play that at the same time. Okay, but I won't take that melody today. I'm actually gonna show you how to kind of make up your own melody as well and start from scratch and sort of quickly come up with your own chord solo. So I'm working with a key of C. So you might want to start by playing your open position C major scale. Okay, and you can go past the high octave as long as the first position allows you, and also below the low C as low as the open position allows you. So you'd have something like those are all my notes in the C scale, open position, and I'm starting on the E and ending on the G. Okay, so anyways, I'll take the upper part of that scale, the C here, D, E, F, G, and I'll start my melody based on those, on that position. So here's a good way to start with creating a melody is just to find some kind of short, easy, memorable pattern. So I'm gonna pick this note here, the open E. Now I'll think E, F, G, and I'll make up this pattern. So that was E, E, F, G, and I'll repeat the same pattern back from the root, from the C. Okay, so now we have two patterns. Now I'll go even lower, a third lower. So I had E, sorry. Now down to C, down to A. I'll finish on G, D. So I'll put the whole thing together. So that's the beginning of my melody. On the repeat of that, I'm gonna add some extra notes. I literally made this up before I recorded the video, so it's not something very complicated. Here's the second round of that. So what's happening there, the first half we had, in the second half we had, so I'm just going down the scale. So here's the second half of the melody. Okay, so here's the whole thing together so far. And again, I'm still just working with the tune, the melody. You don't have to make your own melody. You can take an existing melody like Mary Had a Little Lamb, something super easy like that, and try to harmonize it. But in this video, I wanted to start from scratch I literally played this for the first time like 15 minutes before I recorded this video, so it's still fresh in my memory. Here goes that whole chunk of melody. Second half. Okay, and now we're gonna think about adding harmonies there. So you were in the key of C, you'll have to know your primary and secondary chords. In the key of C, your primary chords are 1, 4, and 5. 1 is C, 4 is F. If you can't play a bar chord, just play it this way. Do a small bar and play 4 strings or 5 strings or the whole thing, okay? And your dominant is your G. However you play that, so you play it this way, or this way, or this way, or this way, or just the baby G. There, that's fine too. So we have our primary chords are C, F, G, and C. Our secondary chords are A minor, this is the relative minor, the 6. D minor is our 2, and E minor or major is our 5 of 6. Minor or major, depending on the song. So we have those 6 chords, C, F, G, C for the primary chords. For the secondary chords, we have A minor, D minor, E minor or major, and then A minor again. So let's see how we can find the right chords, or at least one version of the right chords for this melody. So in the beginning, I'm gonna play a C. My note is right here, my melody note is right here. So I'm playing this fingerstyle. So look, my A finger is on that note, thumb on the root, and then look. I'm gonna put a G chord in there, the dominant. So, okay, so C chord. I'm gonna go to the relative minor, the A minor here. Now it's not wrong to go back to the C, but it's more interesting to go to the relative minor the second time. So look, C, G, A minor, maybe E minor there. Okay, so far we have C, G, A minor, E minor, and then F, C, and G, and then and the fun part in this kind of playing is that you don't have to worry about mistakes, like technical mistakes. We're just dealing with creating music, so we're not going to stop for every little mistake, every little buzz that we make. So here's what I have so far. Straightforward chords. C, G, A minor, E minor, F, and then G, C, G, A minor, E minor, F, C, D. I'm playing the melody here with my pinky, bad strings, old strings, and then there's a G right there. So C, G, A minor, E minor, F, C, G, and then again C, G, A minor, E minor, F, C. Okay? But at this time, I'd like to change my bass notes. Some of you know what a slash chord is. It's not so much a classical term, but there's lots of chords like that in classical music. They're called inversions. So we have the C chord, for example, or this is now called the root position because I'm placing the root of the chord at the bottom of the chord. But now if I start playing it on the third, now this is called the first inversion. In a popular music book, that would be called C/E, because I have the E in the bass. And now if I start on the fifth, or here on the fifth, now that would be a C/G, or the second inversion in classical music. So I'm gonna change some of the inversions of the chords to have what's called a smooth chords transition going from chord to chord. So from C, instead of going to a G like this, I'm going to a G with a B in the bass. That's the first inversion of the G. So look. And then, see, because that was smooth, smoother connection, see? I think it's called smooth voicing. So I'm gonna try to get this motion. Look at this bass motion here. So C, G with B in the bass, A minor, E minor with G in the bass, first inversion, F, E, C with E in the bass, G. Maybe I'll do a G sus there. Suspended is when you take the third and you play a fourth instead. So G sus, the strings are really old. G sus, G. So G, something like that. So let's see if that works here. If I'm moving too fast, feel free to slow down and go back, and yeah, see if you can work with that. So look. So instead of going to, nothing wrong with that, but this sounds better. So this B becomes what's called the passing tone between C and A. And then from A to F, we have the G as a passing tone. So look. A minor. E minor with G in the bass. F. I'm doing a C with E in the bass. G. With the little G sus in there, suspended. And then out of tune. So let me try to almost turn that into like a song, like an instrumental fingerstyle chord solo. Let's see. So instead of blocking like this, I'm gonna go. I'm not changing the notes, I'm just arpeggiating them. So watch, something like this. A bit faster. Something like that. If I wanted a second section, I can keep this video is already too long. I could keep going. Maybe something like. Like a B section. I don't know, something like that. So look. F chord maybe. So I'm gonna play sixth intervals. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. With a D in between, maybe. Maybe a harmonic there. I can't stand these strings, I'm sorry, I have to change these strings. Let me try to put the whole thing together. Video's too long already, I'm sorry about that. Here we go. right? So if you get a little bit out of this video, maybe just how to create a little melody, or maybe just how to add some basic primary chords, maybe some secondary chords to your melody, that would be great. If you have any questions, feel free to write them at the bottom. This is a Yamaha C40. It's my classroom instrument. The strings are great. I think they're the EJ27N, but they're old. These are inexpensive, like $7 per set strings. I really like them for my classroom, but I think they're kind of old, so it's hard to keep them in tune. But check that out. I'll play some links for the guitar, for the strings maybe. Hope you enjoy my video. Try some of this out and let me know how it works for you. If you're not a guitarist, I have other videos on my channel with music for different instruments and stuff like that. Thanks for watching. Give this video a thumbs up. If you're not subscribed to my channel, please subscribe. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.